The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, the Sunday Sesh makes its return for season 22-23. I can't even believe I'm saying those years. But it is the first Sunday Sesh of the new campaign, and it is on the back of a Glasgow Derby win, a 4-0 hammering. They used to think that it was so easy. They used to say it'd be so easy, but they're crying. They're crying now. Compliments to Jerry Rafferty and those fantastic lyrics I was listening to on my walk back from the shop earlier today. They felt very poignant. Phil McGinley, great to have you back on the Bhoycie Bus on the Sunday Sesh. Also joined by Scott Cameron, Johnny Logue. There's loads in the chat already. We're on the back of going 5 points clear at the top of the table. You know, and, you know, the Glasgow Derby, we made it look easy yesterday, and it's always about celebrating Celtic successes. Now, today we are going to have a wee bit of fun because it was nearly 6 years ago. We had a similar emphatic scoreline. We won by 4 clear goals that day. It was a hat-trick from King Musa Dembele at that point, the certain kind of scalper. And we are going to have a wee bit of fun, lads, and we're going to talk about who would make your combined 11. This isn't about comparing managers and whether you think Ange'S team beats Brendan Rodgers' team. It's about having a bit of fun and going your dream 11 from that day to your dream 11 from today's team, if that makes sense. So we are looking forward to that. But Phil, you were on the Sunday blether with Regan Stevenson this morning. He has smashed his record views, mate, and I'm absolutely delighted with that. And Regan deserves it more than anyone. I'm sure Ticketmaster Face said, you know, if you fly with the crows, you get shot with the crows. That boy for King Tut's. Well, Regan ain't been shot yet, big boy. In fact, he's flying high and proudly. But that was a great debate today. Have you had time to calm down, Phil? As you can tell, I'm pretty animated still, mate. I think the adrenaline is still going for yesterday, and it's going to take a long time to get me down for cloud 9.
Oh, mate, I'm the exact same. But hey, man, just like Ange'S team, I never stop. They never stop. This is my 5th show in about 2 days. I hope the viewers aren't sick of seeing my face. But anyway, I'm here anyway. And yeah, mate, I'm looking forward to this talk because, yeah, we're going to take a while for a lot of us to get over that one yesterday. That was phenomenal. So let's keep going. Let's keep pushing forward, man. Let's keep doing it.
Absolutely. Scott, Johnny, first time we've had the opportunity to get you guys back on the bus since, obviously, yesterday's absolute demolition. I'll come to you first, Scott. Have you calmed down yet, mate? Was that exactly what you expected, or was it even better than that?
I thought maybe a bit tighter. I thought Rangers might have scored, but they never showed any intent for the start, Bhoycie. You know what I mean? It was like defensive set-up and that, you know? Just like, surprised me.
Uh-huh.
Basically, I mean, listen, I thought you'd get more of that Kolak and that, but there was no sign that they just tried their shithouse tactics for the start that didn't work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Johnny, I mean, a lot of the focus can be on, Rangers' shortcomings. And, I've got a lot of Rangers supporting mates. My best pals, my two best pals in the world are both Rangers men, right? And, quite staunch, we could say, right? And genuinely, they both, they sort of said yesterday that, you getting the old wind up in the phone and all that. And, it was like, oh, we just didn't have enough fight. I'm going to flip that back and say, I don't give a fuck what Rangers brought to the table yesterday. Was Celtic in that mood? I mean, Celtic play at that pace with that sort of quality end product, whatever you want to call it, that intensity. Every single time a Rangers player took a touch, Johnny, right, that went over, I don't know, half a yard away for their boot, a Celtic player nicked in and took it. That was so obvious. That pace that we were playing at with that intensity makes it very, very difficult. Just before I come to you, I'm going to deal with something very quickly because I see Bob McBob's in the comments. Bob, love you to death, mate. I think you've been a great contributor on the bus. I seen your comment yesterday aimed at Phil. It's the last time you get away with that, pal, all right? I like you in the comments. I think you bring good value, good debate. That was personal. It's fucking out of order. It doesn't happen again. Anyway, Johnny, that intensity we played at, that was unbelievable. It's not so much about Rangers' shortcomings. It is about Celtic not giving them a chance to breathe. It doesn't matter what form Rangers came out. It doesn't matter how they lined up. When we play like that, we were always going to win that football match.
Yeah, the game I expected to win yesterday. I didn't really expect to win 4-0, but I did expect to win. But when you talk about the intensity and the way they play, if I was the manager of any opposing team playing Celtic the way they were yesterday, I'd be counting how many players they've got in the fucking park. Because it looked like we had about 15 players in that park. They were just everywhere. I mean, it was the same last week against Dundee United. Just look at we always talk about Ange goes on, we never stop. I mean, we almost make a laugh and joke about it, but it's true, they don't. I think if anybody stands still for any length of time in that park, Postecoglou's going to have a go at them. Because they're just wired that way.
Absolutely, mate. And you know what? We're making Rangers defenders look like as much of a silhouette as you look like right now, Johnny.
Yeah, no, it's the light down here. It's just the way the sun's shining bright through this back window. Because
where's he gone?
Living a bit further south, we tend to get a bit longer sunshine down here,
Oh. That is brilliant. But
is that any better?
There we go.
There he is. Johnny, it's good to see a big handsome face, mate. That's what we wanted. But I think, Liam Greenlaw's came in the comments, the Punk Duck Warlord, an absolute legend. And he says Rangers had no say yesterday. Phil, that's kind of my point. I'm always about scrutinising Celtic. They need to be scrutinised. And many people think you're a bedwetter for that. It's a load of bollocks. I'm consistent throughout the board. You praise when praise is deserved. You critique where critiquing is required, and you slag off when slagging off is required. It's that simple. It's an easy policy to have in life, Phil. It's just called being consistent. Now, let's be completely clear here. Celtic's performance yesterday is where the praise lies. The praise or the criticism of Rangers is so secondary because, in my opinion, it's all about what Celtic do when they play like that. Can they, Phil, prove to the world this midweek that when they play like that, they can hurt any team?
Oh man! Well, earlier on we had a wee chat about what we think going to happen on Tuesday. I said, let's have a bit of fun with it at the end of the day because it is a free hit. We've got to understand this game on Tuesday is a free hit. I did say 3-2 Celtic when that happens. Who knows? I was having a bit of fun with it, but it's going to be a big ask. I don't think he'll change much of his strategy. I think it'd be crazy that he would go, this long doing the same type of tactics, that he would just drastically rip it all up and start with something new.
Yeah,
I think we'll be a wee bit more, just slightly adjusted. But as I said earlier on, I think we'll come at the Chaps flying on Tuesday night and try to spook them early on. But as I was saying again on the Blair this morning, just the fans that are there on the night at the stadium have got to stay patient, because this team that we're coming up against, they're going to dominate play for large spells. We're going to be without the ball. It's going to take a concerted effort from the team on the park, the fans in the stand. And you never know, maybe one of those magic nights at Celtic Park, it just might happen. We've got a right to dream and a right to believe. I don't think it's one of these things that could be worthy of being memed and clipped saying it. Why not? Why not? Eh? Just we'll see what happens. This is a game. This game will not define our group. This game will not define it. The Shakhtar and the Leipzig games are the ones that will define our outcome. But this one, we just go for it. No, nothing to lose, man.
I like that attitude when we say it doesn't define it. But I think what we're also saying at that point in time is it doesn't define it if we get beat. If we win, it absolutely defines it, because it's 3 points that we never would have normally expect. So I think it's a bit of a safety blanket thing that when we go, oh, well, these games don't. Well, if we were to beat Real Madrid home and away, ain't going to happen, right? But let's just say, for example, did that be 6 points out of a required, 10 to finish second, max? So, yes, it could define the group. If we were to get the positive result, we're all just being a wee bit safe. We're playing in the safe side, aren't we? But, Phil, the one thing about worrying about memes and GIFs and people taking the piss out of us is we're out here to give opinion. And the one thing the bus always does is give strong opinion and fair opinion and honesty. And that's what it's all about on the bus. And if, people want to turn that into memes and take the piss whilst they sit on a halfway house, you know what I mean, with a wet bed, that's fine. Not our concern. But, Johnny, the excitement we now have, I mean, I was buzzing we need to get into context what's actually been happening here. Our club's record ever away win was only 7 days ago. Record ever win 9-0. Do you know what I mean? Then we're beating Europa League finalists, Champions League qualifiers via a difficult, tricky route. We've destroyed them 4-0. We're now going to Real Madrid this week, the European champions at Paradise. Firstly, it is such an exciting time. It's not one that I'm feeling with dread anymore. These big games, we're ready for them. And 12 months ago, you were kind of going into the first derby against Rangers at Ibrox going, fuck, just get out alive. Do you know what I mean? Like, get out of there alive. Now it's Real Madrid we're talking about, not even maybe getting out alive of that. Maybe we're looking at this game, and I think the optimism from the fans is almost universal right now, Johnny. I think there's a real wave of, could we do something Tuesday? And when you reflect on how we dismantled Rangers, how we see what Celtic do things, Johnny, that are very, very unorthodox at times, right? And that is, I think, at times, the use of the set pieces. And I don't care how long you've been in the game, you just don't expect teams to play at that pace and that intensity and have the ball back in play. It's natural for a player to go back into position by turning his back quickly, Johnny. Do you know what I mean? And kind of stroll in there. It's natural for a player to be throwing his arms up at a referee because a free kick the Sunnis didn't get. They're not expecting the ball to have been passed behind their back at that time, Johnny. You know what I mean? And the pace that we then attack with in the final third is such that it's devastating for other teams. I am convinced any team can succumb to that when Celtic do it. Could Tuesday be the next chapter in our illustrious history being written?
My head says that we won't win.
Yep, that's fair.
My heart says, we've got a chance. A few months ago on the Thursday night forum, I actually asked the question, have we actually improved the team and the squad? I think we decided we'd kind of improved the squad. I wasn't convinced when the season started that we had, but the last 6 games,
I agree.
These guys have, they've. I hadn't thought about the fact that the likes of get Carter Vickers settled, get Jota settled. They know what they're doing for the next few years. That's going to improve them just by doing that. And a lot of the other players have done the same because we haven't been playing midweek games. We've had that time spent on the training field with Postecoglou. And if you watched, I don't know if you watched Ange on the, is it Open?
Yeah, Open Goal. It was brilliant.
Open Goal. And he was talking about how he You never see him in the face of the fourth official or the linesman. He says, because if I'm fucking about doing that, I might miss something. And I think he's told our players, whatever happens, you accept the decision, you get on with it. We get the free kick, bang, we just start playing again.
Yep.
The game lasts 90 minutes, and I want you to play 90 minutes. I don't want a 90-minute game with only 47 minutes of the ball in play. I want to play. And the Rangers players were getting a lot of stick yesterday for turning their backs when we got the free kick that led to the second goal. But it's like you've just said there, Russell. It's almost natural. That's what players do. Oh, the ball's dead. They turn around and will.
Yeah.
And Celtic are just doing something that's not been seen here before. I mean, I think I sent a message on the group that Ali McCoy mentioned about the ball boys getting the ball back in place so quick. So, well, what's he been watching for the last 12 months when he's watched the Celtic game at Parkhead? Because you notice the difference when we play at Tannadice. Mind you, we still managed to score 9 goals. The ball's not back in play as quick because the ball boys aren't giving it to our lads, our players, as quickly as it happens at Celtic Park. I reckon the ball boys and girls at Celtic Park, I reckon they train with the first team. I reckon they're at Lennox then.
Well, Johnny, I think
always straight back in play.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Do you know something, Scott? I'm going to come to you because I'm going to cut Ali McCoy a wee bit of slack. I do think it's noticeable that it's getting done quicker now. I do think there's a change. I don't think the ball boys haven't been doing it before. I think you're right over the last 12 months. But for whatever reason, whether it be the ball boys maybe doing the exact same thing they were 12 months ago, Johnny could be right. But for whatever reason, the message is now getting across to the players. And I think you are seeing this keep the ball in play at all times during the 45 minutes of football, have the ball in the park as much as you possibly can. But maybe just seeing that, fusing together properly now. The fusion is working now. And it just seems to be, I think it does look like we're getting the ball back in quicker, Johnny. I don't know. It might not be the ball boys who are doing it, but I think the players are less hesitant. I think they get the ball, they just chuck it in. You never see, you remember you used to always get folk doing that false run up to do a throw in and then looking about. You never see that with Celtic. You can't even remember a throw in. It's just on the park. It's so quick. They just want it on the park. They're not trying to do a perfect Rory Delap big throw in, Scott. We're playing with pace and intensity right now, but undeniably, the mantra is keep the ball on the field of play as much as possible because we dominate teams.
Aye, definitely. I mean, that's thing with the ball boys and that, it's not really a new thing. I mean, there's a lot of teams across Europe out there. I mean, it's quite a big thing now, isn't it? Doing like that multi-ball thing. Is that what they call it?
But I'll be honest, I don't think as many teams are doing it at the rate Celtic are right now.
Well, they're really quick.
I watch.
I mean, what I don't get is, like yesterday, Van Bronckhorst and that, they knew we were going to do that with the ball boys and that. You know what I mean? It's like, they kind of was coming, and they're still like John saying, like, having your back turned for like literally 2 seconds. The kind of ball's going to be coming back on them quick. You know what I mean? But
I actually, Scott, I'm going to, even the Rangers players, when it's easy to say, oh, they were shite, etc. Do you know something, Scott? I don't actually think they were doing anything that unnatural. I genuinely think, it's in your instincts if you don't think it was a foul to throw your arms up.
Yeah.
So Celtic just don't seem to be interacting with any of this bollocks anymore, but getting frustrated. They just put the ball down, hand on the ball and pass it.
Yeah, I mean, like Rangers yesterday, I think they were playing at like a European pace. They're like, that's how they're set up, is to frustrate teams in Europe, but they don't concentrate on like the league football. Come on, I mean, so that's just the impression I get. Felt like.
No, I think you're right.
They're set one way, and that's like to break games up and like time waste. But when you're doing it against a team like Celtic, like you say with the ball boys and that, and it's coming back on top of you like constant, you're going to get rattled, aren't you? No matter how good a player you are.
No, I mean, I think that when it comes to Rangers, Phil, they are a team that has undeniably got a CV now that stands up in Europe over the last 2-3 years, right?
Yeah,
it does. And we want to be, we've spoken the bus so many times, mate, how our ambition, or certainly mine anyway, I don't speak for anyone else, but my ambition for Celtic anyway is I would get far more of a buzz of us in a quarter-final of a Champions League, Europa League, and giving it a right good go, maybe a chance to get in the last 4 or something, than I would winning a 39th, 45th League Cup, right? That's just my take, because I've got bigger visions for Celtic. Not because you don't want to win the League Cup, just because my priorities are very much Europe. So we're playing against a team yesterday, as I say, with an enhanced European reputation, and one that's actually, to be fair, stands up against Celtics in recent times. Easily, right? In my opinion. Even this season. I think you've got to look at what they've achieved and go, fair fucking dues. That was only a week ago they were beating PSV. You know? Only a week ago. And I know people can say goalies throwing the ball in the net, but you always need a break of the ball. You need a rub of the green. All that shit, ironically for them. But but Phil, if that's a team that stands up in Europe, which they do, look at the devastating impact we can have when we follow Ange'S philosophy. When the team plays like that, why not another team of European repute? Why not do that against all three of the teams in our group? Real Madrid being the trickiest of them all, but I think it's a wonderful thing we play them first, because I don't think our spirits, and I take your point on, they won't define us. Let's expand on that. If we get beat, it doesn't affect us mentally, I don't think, because realistically, that is an expectation many people will have. But let's be serious. I think when it comes to the Real Madrid game, it's quite a good gauge to get just how far away we are from it, despite all these recent great performances, or this really is clicking. And I'll tell you one thing. The thing is, against Real Madrid, is where Ange will be making his real judgments. I think he feels domestically he's got it kind of sussed. I said before to you, mate, I don't think he rates Scottish football all that highly. Just the vibe I get. And he's not disrespectful to it. I just don't think he rates it that highly. I think against Real Madrid in that, because Ange, whether we like it or not, has his own ego too. He has Celtic first and foremost. But he also thinks, I'm Ange Postecoglou. I can fucking do this. Of course he's got to have that. I think testing himself against Real Madrid is exactly why he came to Paradise in the first place.
Oh, definitely. You said it many times on the bus. So if people think he's here just to be that wee bit better than Rangers, it's like no. The next step is to try and progress, because the thing. See if we've got a team that can compete at a decent level in Europe, then the domestic stuff takes care of itself. If we're competing in Europe, then look at the state of the Scottish Premiership in terms of the standard of it. Nothing to worry about there. So. And also, if we compete on Tuesday, if we give them a real scare and actually, really make them work for it, again, you look at the other two teams in the group. Now, don't get me wrong, Shakhtar and Leipzig will still be tough in their own right.
Of course.
But once you get the big team out of the way, and if you can give them a real go, and you never know if we can win, we'll see what happens. But at least if we make them work for it, again, it will be Angel be taking that approach that if we can give them a fight, we could definitely give Shakhtar and Leipzig a game, definitely believe that we can win them. But the good thing about Ange'S, and one of the things that I think every fan loves, is how grounded he is. He would not see if we do give Real Madrid a scare and have a real good go at it, he'll make sure that the players still stay quite grounded and like, right, okay, don't think that Shakhtar and Leipzig are just going to be a write-off. We're just going to walk in there and beat them no bother. He'll still keep them on the level. But yeah, Tuesday night's going to be a big barometer. So it's good that we do get out of the way first. So you're right in that case, because test yourself against the hardest team first, and then that'll give you an idea of where we realistically can look at. But it's exciting times, man. We've got a right to dream, as I say. We definitely have.
A right to dream, Johnny. I love that.
We've got Real Madrid to start with and to finish with, because we didn't want Real Madrid as being our back-to-back games.
Oh yeah,
that's where you could be killed. That's where everything's over if you don't do well in the third and fourth games in the back-to-back. So I think it's the group for us. Personally, I think is what we wanted. We wanted a glamour game, which we got Real Madrid, and we wanted two games where we've got a chance, and we've got them. And then we've also got I don't know the order of the games after Real Madrid, but the fact we've got Real Madrid first and last, I think works for us.
Shakhtar away is the second one, then it's Leipzig away, Leipzig home, Shakhtar home, Real Madrid away.
Right. So as I said, we haven't got, obviously with Madrid first. I knew we weren't getting the double header, and we wanted to avoid the double header against Real Madrid.
Yep.
I agree with that. I think as well, Scott. I mean, right now we're in a situation where we've had the respite. We've had this unbelievable start to the season where 7 days between games. What the fuck is that in August? We've never had that in our lives. I think the team's now they're getting in gear now where I think bring on now the two games a week. I think we've shown with the squad depth. I think we've shown with the 9 changes midweek. I think we've shown when Kyogo comes off after a minute, we bring on Chaos and we bring the Chaos. And I think we've shown with bringing in Abada for the last 3 starts, he's fucking on fire. Yeah, the start of the season, Maeda was nailed on for the starting place. I think we've shown this is a squad that can manage 2 games a week now. And it's actually been nice that we've been able to ease ourselves into it. But now it's time for the pedal to go to the metal. I think it is foot to the floor, 2 games a week, bring it on. We've got the squad, we've got the players to do so.
Definitely, mate.
I knew you were going to say definitely there.
Our squad's a lot more streamlined now, Ken. There's like 2 or 3 players for every position. They're a lot fitter after having a full pre-season. I'm not even nervous about the Real Madrid game, to be perfectly honest, Boycie. I think we'll get a 2-0 draw at them as well.
That'd be unbelievable.
2 for Adam Moy.
2. I think you're right, though. I mean, you're going to the Real Madrid game, Scott, with confidence. I just think even the schedule now, having had that month to get all the work they've done in training, right? This is where Ange comes to the fore. We've been told this, for ages. On the training ground, this is where he can get his, impetus from the team, right? What he wants from the team. Yeah. We've seen the improvement for set pieces. We've seen undeniably an improvement in the fitness of the players, in my opinion, right? I think it's already there that they look sharper. They're more accustomed because of a year's work with Ange as well to how he sets up. That's natural. But I also think now they're almost like, we're fucking ready now to play 2 games a week. And by the way, that's not a grueling schedule for a fucking multi-millionaire footballer. 2 games a fucking week, right? I don't feel any sympathy for any of them, right? Not one bit. And I also think in modern day football, if you want to consider yourself, elite level or any of that bollocks, then rest assured you'll need to be playing, Scott, 2 games a week. But I think what's been nice is we've had that easing into the season, getting into our groove. We've now had some really notable results. Now it's 2 games a week, just at the perfect time, Scott.
Yeah, it's like the players are fitter for a start rate. They're like they know each other a bit better now as well. They're better. In last season, they were literally just thrown together, weren't they? But now, like you say, with the extra time, together, the pre-season, 1 game a week, everyone's it's like a coiled spring, mate. They're just ready to go. I think we'll do well in the Champions League. I think we're totally ready for it. And I mean, the injuries as well, hopefully that doesn't become a factor. But like I say, they'll be used to Ange'S training by now as well, which is going to be a bonus. I
mean, Phil, the thing is with these games, you look at the Rangers one, that's where you sort of compare yourself in the league, and I felt yesterday was a real gulf. That's the word that keeps coming to my mind is gulf. There was a golfing clash yesterday. But then we get to Europe and we're always told about the gulf, the financial disparity. It's all mission impossible and all this bollocks. That's what we've been fed. Something's got to change that way. Have you ever been more confident in us making an impression in Europe than what you are now? I can only go back, and you can sound the klaxon all you want, because I was never as confident under Strachan despite his successes. In Europe, I never felt that confident with it. Vander O'Neill, you were confident. You were confident under O'Neill going to Europe. Fucking bring them on. We'll beat them. Lenny brought a bit of that back. I always remember we played Spartak Moscow. We played Spartak Moscow at home, and we had to win to qualify.
Yep,
I was no doubt we beat them. Champions League opposition. I was in no doubt we'd beat them under Lenny, and we did. And I thought it's funny that feeling. I weigh it all up, and I do feel right now very confident we can do something. James Young, thank you very much, my man. I appreciate it. No need for that, but of course, always warmly received. Thank you, mate. What do you make of that, though, Phil?
I'm pretty confident as well. Again, I think it's all down to the demeanour that the manager gives off. See, this is the guy. You know, a year ago, none of us had really heard of him, but my God, he was the right guy that we really needed after what we came off the back of. What a force in nature he really is. The way he stabilised the ship and what he's done, and he gives off that aura. He really has got that sort of, I think it's what they call a statesman sort of aura around him. I mean, we've heard in the past people comparing it to the Jock Stein aura, maybe not in the ability of it, but he just has that presence. And I think it's coming rubbing off on the players and the fans and stuff. He just has that about him, that thing, that X factor, where you're just like, I believe in this guy. Like, you know, there's no bullshit with this guy. He's confident in his own ability. The players are definitely buying into it. They're playing, the camaraderie between the players is unbelievable at the moment. And the connection between the fans and the players, everything is like the perfect storm just brewing right now. And we could be on the verge of something very, very magical this season in terms of Europe. It could be. So, it's definitely, I think if fans are confident, it's no coincidence that so many of us are feeling that way. And a lot of it is down to the main man himself, Big Ange. It really is. He is something else, man. He really is.
He has been an appointment that no one could have expected this from. I know they can all say, oh, well, I backed him from the start. You didn't fucking expect this, right? Just let's get that clear. But, Johnny, we're going to have some fun today. Like I say, it's a Sunday sesh, and everyone's welcome. And pour open a beer if you're watching. Drink responsibly, of course, but grab a beer. It's the Sunday sesh. That's what we're doing right now. And we're going to have that pub conversation because, Johnny, as I said at the top of the show, 6 years ago, we watched Demolition in full form. We watched a hat-trick, a perfect hat-trick scored by Moussa Dembele. I think he was 20 years old. He just turned 20, something like that. It was astonishing. We were panicking. He was in the lineup at that time. But it wasn't just Moussa Dembele that day. We've seen a Celtic team with players in it that we'd maybe not written off, but I'd maybe undervalued come to the fore. We'd seen players come from England in that fixture that, well, created their own reputation and had that even taken off them by Scott Brown, which is very fun to watch. But I find the games very, very comparable. I appreciate we're in Postecoglou's second season now, and it was Rodgers' first season. But they both have this Messiah vibe, and I know everyone again has now turned like the Rodgers being there, like, oh fuck, who's a prick. Trust me, you were absolutely, soaking your pants that he came to Celtic. We all know, everyone knows it. Let's not kid on, right? And I think he's got that aura. I think Postecoglou and him have that same fanfare as each other. I think the teams are creating similar sort of results. Anyone who wants to diminish the fact, oh, look, I knew Brown Warrior. Rangers were shit at that time. There's no getting away from it. Honestly, go just stop because you just went out of a Scottish Cup semi-final. Brown, you have an agenda against Brendan Rodgers. You're not balanced on it. You cannot give valued opinion on it. So, I'm up for the debate, mate, but you are biased beyond your wildest dreams on Brendan Rodgers, Brown Warrior. So,
can I make a point, Russell? Just a point on this, right? Seeing the 5 seasons that Martin O'Neill was a Celtic manager, see the 3 seasons that he won the league, we won it by about 15 plus points each time. The 2 seasons that Rangers kept up with, they won it on the last day. But there were Rangers teams that year that had like Egil Ostenstad and stuff in it that we won on a canter. Totally. So, the Rangers teams during that era weren't all amazing neither. So keep that in mind.
It's easy to rewrite history because of how we left. But we're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna bring up a wee scheme. We're gonna build our first 11, and I think, it's just a wee bit of fun, guys. It's not that important. Let's be honest. It's just to sort of, as I say, I think it's a bit of pub debate that we can all have a wee bit of fun with. So I don't know. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah. Hi.
Happy days. So, in goals, we've seen Joe Hart again. 2 saves. I think his most difficult save, if I'm honest to you boys, was for Callum McGregor going for an absolute worldie at the end of the match. Phil, what did you make of that?
It just shows how alert he was, though. At the end of the day, because he's been not had anything to do all game, so that's always crucial when you're the Celtic goalkeeper. You've got to be switched on for the full 90, and right near the end of the game, we have nothing to do all game. Still switched on, and it was from our own player as well. What are the chances?
I think Callum just wanted him to earn some money, earn his money for yesterday instead of having to charge him for a ticket.
Scott, is this the easiest position on the park to choose from? I think Joe Hart walks
Yeah.
into the combined 11, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. 100%. I'll say that again, Bhoycie.
Russell, is
Mate.
this? Are you basing this on the team that played in the 5-1 game,
Oh,
or
we
is
can
it
have a
Rodgers?
bit of fun. I think the Invincibles squad, that 16-17 season against the 22-23 squad, I think that's fair. The exact lineup would be a wee bit fucking hard.
I don't think we De Vries that day. That's what it would have been.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I think Hart strolls into that team. I think we need to be honest. I think Joe Hart strolls into that team. Johnny, you in agreement with that? Joe Hart, I've already put him in, so I don't care if you say
Yeah. I think it's no brainer, mate. No brainer. Especially if goals right and it was De Vries that was in goal, yeah.
De Vries played that day, aye.
He was fucking murdered, by the way. He was.
By the way, no, don't do Craig Gordon a disservice, though. He was good, man. He had his good moments. Yeah, he had some clangers, especially in Europe. But Craig Gordon really surprised a lot of us because he came in on a free transfer after years of injury problems. And I think he really, got back to some, maybe not his very best for him, but some of the saves that he pulled, especially the Man City game that season. There was a shot for Ilkay Gundogan right at the end of the game where we were blown out our arse. And we celebrate that game, that free straw. And he had to get it right up into the corner and tip that over the bar because that was going right in like a rocket. He had some blinding saves. And also he did save the penalty in the Hapoel Beersheva game. He saved one penalty the entire time he was a Celtic goalkeeper. And it was that Hapoel Beersheva qualifier that ended up being crucial. So he did have his moments. But and this one, I would lean towards Hart, and he's definitely... over the next couple of years, again, we're kind of going to see the best out. But Craig Gordon definitely doesn't need to be written completely off, I think he did have his good moments, without a doubt.
You're not wrong there, Phil.
Right. Also, Boyce's screen's just appeared twice at the bottom there, so is he disconnected?
Well, he's certainly frozen anyway.
He's frozen. There we go.
Why? How's there two, mate?
How's
that happened?
Wow.
That's the last thing. That's the last thing anyone needs.
There we go.
Well done, mate. I don't know what was going on there. Sorry for that. It's the first time we've had a Wi-Fi issue in a while, to be fair.
Yeah.
So where's the screen gone though?
Don't know.
Where's my team?
Try sharing it again. Try it again.
It took me ages to build that. We've got only Joe Hart. And we will go 4-4-2. I know neither of the teams played 4-4-2, but it was just fucking easier. It gives you a balance because it means you can force a couple other guys into the team. You know what I mean? The more interesting positions on the park, shall we say. So we will go to left back. Now, Greg Taylor is having a very purple patch right now, Scott Cameron. In fact, I think right now he on form as the best fullback at Celtic. Yeah. I've got no doubts. Rangers targeted one fullback yesterday. It was not Greg Taylor. However, for all Greg Taylor's brilliant performances of late, is he in the league of KT? I don't think so yet.
No, that's an easier pick than the goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's like,
Go on, Scott.
It's going to be Tierney, definitely, mate. It's like there's no comparison between the two of them, is there?
You're gonna put a pound in the jar for every time you say definitely, though, yeah?
Yeah, no, definitely, mate.
What's your memories of Kieran Tierney? What a player, eh?
Bombing forward for a start. I mean, there's one engine the guy had come out. I mean, it's like, he just came out of nowhere as well. I mean, he could do everything, couldn't he?
Yeah.
He was just like an all-round player. So there's no comparison between him and Greg Taylor. Nothing against Greg Taylor, but it's just one of the things, mate. It's just fact, is it?
Johnny, Greg Taylor's been, I think, one of the pleasant surprises of the season.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a Taylor convert, to be honest with you. I mean, I didn't think he was targeted to an extent down the left, but you go on about assists for goals, Jota assists, but how many times has a move actually started? Because I think it was at Ross County when I think it was 2 of the goals. Taylor doesn't get an assist accreditation for it, but we won the possession back because of his tenacity. He just doesn't give up. Never mind doesn't stop. He doesn't give up, and I think he has come on a ton in the last 18 months, 12 to 18 months, definitely. But he's still not going to get in that team if he's up against Tierney.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think Paul McFarlane comes in the chat. Brilliant to have you on the bus, Paul. And he's saying, Tierney was Champions League quality. I totally agree with that. I think Kieran Tierney, I actually think, do you know it's so weird, Phil? I always felt that Tierney at Arsenal was I thought, fuck's sake, they're going nowhere and nowhere fast. Now this season, though, by sticking there, he might actually be at the perfect team. He might, because whatever it is they do will be seen as a massive achievement sort of thing because their expectations have diminished so much. But also, I think the vibe of that team is good now, and I think Arsenal are one of these teams, right, where I think, not that we're going to talk about Arsenal for ages, but I just think like they've not got the Galacticos, right? You know what I mean? That like a team full of superstars. But I think in their team, it's quite easy to almost sort of be a shining light. And I think Tierney's already achieved that. And even more, whatever successes they have, I think it'll be him front, left, and centre as, one of the epitomes of it. We were lucky to have him as long as we did. You can't blame the boy at times, when you look at it and, if Brown Murray wants to say everyone was shite in Scotland at that time, then well, fair enough, that's why he's left. I would like him to have stayed for the 10. And I suppose he'll never get called a rat. But, he could have stayed for the 10 just as easily, in my opinion. But, I when I see him play, I do have a lot of pride when I watch Kieran Tierney. And he strolls into the team. So now we've got
Can I just say one thing on Tierney about Arsenal? But, him choosing Arsenal, I was a bit like, I was gutted he left us. And I was gutted he went to Arsenal. In the same way I was way back in the day when Nicholas left us and went to Arsenal. Because, the Arsenal teams that both of them left us for were not the dominant teams or trophy-winning teams that they had been previously. And unfortunately, I think I couldn't. When Tierney left us and went to Arsenal, I could not figure out why he seemed so determined or that determined to go to Arsenal, but nobody else seemed to be interested in putting a bid in for him. I want him to go somewhere where he's, because I don't believe that Arsenal are going to be trophy leading over the next 5, 6, 7 years that Tierney's going to be probably playing there. I think when he leaves, he's going to have more trophies won at Celtic than at Arsenal.
Well, I think you say that, but, football changes very quickly, Johnny, as well. And I think already, from what I've seen from Arsenal, I think the signing of Gabriel Jesus has been unreal for them. I've got a pal who lives in Brazil, right? It's fucking bizarre. I met him via Championship Manager. Never met him in person, right? But we've been pals for like the last 3-4 years, chat all the time. And he was like, Jesus, Arsenal could turn them from, top 6 England to top 2. He went, he just needs to be the number 1 guy. And at Man City, he was never going to be number 1 guy. I think Arsenal could have a good season. Kieran Tierney will be a big part of that. But anyway, back to the lineup. We've got one from each era already. A 50-50 split. I love it, Phil.
Yeah, indeed.
We will now go to the other fullback position.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be fun.
This is.
So we know the fans' favourite is Josip Juranovic.
Yeah.
Boycie's favourite probably is Tony Ralston. So I think the debate of even this era is as valid as this one. Who the fuck did we have a right back then?
Mikael Lustig.
7 years. Does a peak Lustig, and he was peak at this time. He was 29, I believe, in the derby, and he turned 30 that season. Mikael Lustig, peak, or 27-year-old now, Josip Juranovic. Phil, I'll come to you first for the awkward questions.
That is an awkward question, mate. I'm going to lean with, because of what he'd achieved up to that point, and I think when he was on it, he was unbelievable. I would lean towards peak Mikael Lustig at that point in time, because that he'd been at the club for 4 or 5 years at that point. Then he was at 2012 he signed, so this is 2016 that derby, wasn't it? Or that Brendan Rodgers season was 2016, so he'd been there about 4 years. But see, going forward and the crosses that Lustig put in, I mean, one of the best examples ever is the night we beat Spartak Moscow in Moscow. Do you remember the cross he put in for Gary Hooper, the low-driven one that was right into the danger zone that a goalkeeper hates the ball to be in? The black kit. And Gary Hooper just eats them up all day, and it's like, what a cross. What an absolute brilliant. Lustig's crossing ability is phenomenal, and he defended like a warrior, but obviously he stayed a bit too long at the club. His legs began to go, but this is the Invincible era season. He could still do it at that point. For me, Lustig on day 3, I'm going to lean towards him.
Good stuff. I'm trying to make sure that Scott's not getting wiped out by the comments every time he's in the bottom camera. Every time I bring up a comment, he's getting blanked out. So if I bring up a comment now,
we're all going to get blanked out now.
That's much better. That's much better. That's much better. Brian McCabe, hail to you, mate. Brilliant to have you on the bus. As so many of you are still just under 200 right now, please hit the like button because it does get us that traction. We've proved it this week. A week where we've had over 13,500 views on the Bhoycie Bus. By the way, not bad for a part-time hobby, you know, with no studio and all that carry on. So we're doing okay. We are doing okay. And as are Celtic. For me, it's Mikael Lustig. Johnny Logan, come to you next. Is it Lustig? Is it Juranovic? Is it Tony Ralston?
Was that the game that Lustig scored? Did he score the 5th in that game?
That was at Ibrox.
That was at Ibrox, right? Okay.
But that squad, it's not just about these fixtures. I'm just comparing the squads. The 16-17 squad, the 22-23 squad. You know, it doesn't need to be just what happened during that 90 minutes.
No, but yeah, it's hard to argue with Phil there on that one. At his peak, at his best with us, I think I'd go with that. My abiding memory of him is when he strolled through at Ibrox as it was and finished it like a centre forward. You know, you couldn't believe it when you'd seen a fullback's just done that. Ridiculous. So yeah, I would go with him. Yeah.
Scott,
I'm Lustig as well, mate. 100%. Is it just a crossing ability? It was good for a goal as well. You know what I mean? It's just like his all-round game was good. He was a solid defender.
Does anyone remember his goal against Hearts in a 7-0 cup win that we had at Tynecastle? Right off the crossbar and in. Oh my God, amazing!
Aye, he could play, mate. Do you know what? I just think, defensively, he was so solid. He was good in the air as well. I think to be fair, in my honest opinion, I felt like he left at the right time.
Aye, definitely.
James Young has donated another £2, mate. Listen, that'll do. That's the 3rd time you've done that, mate. I really, really appreciate it. But we're just having a good time, mate. Let the ad revenue make us the £29 this week. You know what I mean? Thank you so much, though, pal. Really do appreciate it. It's brilliant to have so many folk. 194 right now. We are building a fantasy 11 between Rogers' 16-17 team and the team, obviously the squad we're currently in, both of them able of destroying the Rangers this weekend. We've seen it under Ange'S Postecoglou, but right now it's 2-1 for Rogers. But let's get to the centre halves. Brendan Rodgers never had the luxury of being able to call it a VVD. I think that would have been very, very interesting to see how that panned out, if I'm honest. I'm not. You know, I don't think his qualities lie with defence. I'm not sure Ange Postecoglou's qualities, lie with making defenders necessarily much better either. But when it comes to centre halves, it's important. We had the likes of Kolo Touré, Dedrick Boyata came to the fore midway through that season. There was the Danish boy, Sviatchenko, who Rodgers didn't fancy much. Who was the other one?
Jozo Siminovic. Injury-free Jozo Siminovic.
Now we've got, obviously, when you're looking at the centre-backs, it's different. I think Siminovic, for me, Phil, was someone very much from, I think, a previous school that doesn't really exist. Boyata was someone I thought was just all about headers and all that sort of thing, but he actually became a lot better on the ball under Rodgers. Then we get to our centre-back option. We've got Moritz Jens competing with Karl Starfelt. Again, another person who polarises opinions. And CCV. Can I go early? Phil, come to you first. CCV is the first name, eh?
CCV's nailed on. He is the easy one out of all the centre-backs, easily.
Aye. I agree with that. I totally do. Scott, Johnny, any arguments with CCV?
No, that's a definite nail on. Yeah. There's just
Scott,
No debate.
100%, mate.
Yeah, good. I agree, because I think as well, there's no recency bias here, by the way. This is just a guy who's now, for the last 12 months, became our number one centre back. Tattoo Boy has donated £2 as well. Tattoo Face, I should say. The Molotov King, thank you so much. Sexy Beast Bhoycie, I'm not sure about that. And either are the clientele of the Life nightclub in Dunfermline, where I was till 4 a.m. last night. Far too old for that nonsense. James Young, cut it out, mate. You've been far too kind, honestly. Thank you so much. But CCV, who partners him, Danielle, remember Danielle? Great girl. And she's saying
Danielle?
Starfelt to partner CCV. We've not seen enough of Jens to get in that team yet. We've named the Rodgers centre backs. Does Boyata have a shout?
Oh, right. If we're basing this purely on that season, right? Boyata didn't come in until the second half of the season. Sviatchenko played
He was massive in that second half of the season.
Yeah.
Phil.
Sviatchenko played the New Year game at Ibrox that we won, but he was at fault for Kenny Miller opening the scoring, slack ball out of defence. And it was right after that game that Sviatchenko seemed to disappear for the team, and Boyata came in out of the cold. And I remember the panic, even myself. I was like, Boyata? Well, I couldn't believe he was back in the team. But he really came on leaps and bounds that season. He genuinely improved. And that was like an eye-opening moment for me, where I was like, Brendan Rodgers is getting a tune out of Boyata. Where Boyata's shortcomings were in European games. The Bayern Munich game, for instance, that mix-up and pass back to Craig Gordon. And then it was the Bayern player just went around, Craig Gordon stuck in the net. But here's the thing, if we're based it on the Invincible Trail season, we were out of Europe by the time that Boyata came into the team, so we can only base it on that 6 months. He was really good. But I think Siminovic has got a shout, because see, when he was injury-free that season under Brendan, he was excellent that season when he was fit. And he did stay injury-free quite a lot during that season. And of course, that is a season where he put Kenny Miller in the air in the 5-1 game at Ibrox.
Phil, let's just cut the bullshit, mate. It's Siminovic or it's Starfelt. You tell me.
I'll go Siminovic.
Love it, love it, love it, Johnny.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Phil on that one. Starfelt's one of those. I cannot make my mind up about Starfelt. I decided after 10 minutes on his debut against Hearts that he was shite, and he wasn't going to do it. Then he grew on me, if you like, and I thought, yeah, but it's when he sticks to bog standard basic defending. When he starts thinking he's a throwback to Franz Beckenbauer and wants to play football, I just think, stop fucking doing it, because you can't do it. I think he's the most awkward I know he's not left-sided. I know he's not left-footer, but he's the most awkward-looking player I've ever seen when he passes that ball. You know, when he passes the ball back to Hart, when Hart's giving it to him, and he gives it to Hart, and then Hart gives it back to him. And he does this stupid little, almost like a half turn when he passes the ball. I think he's going to fall over, and I just cannot make up my mind whether I rate him or whether I don't. He's got me. Never mind supporters in general split. He's got me split with myself.
Okay,
I'm going to go with Siminovic on that one, because I did like him.
And did Boyata come into your thinking at all?
No. He went on strike, so that was him out of it.
Well, that was years later.
Yeah, but it's still, yeah. I hold a grudge.
I'm not wrong with that. Scott?
I go with Siminovic as well. Starfelt is a bit slack with the ball at times, you know. I mean, you've seen that a couple of times yesterday as well. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, he's got a mistake on him, like,
Well, he does.
So,
to be fair, so does every defender in the world, by the way.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, but like John was saying about his passing and that, it can be way off at times. So I'd go for Siminovic. Hard to say.
I think it is a difficult one, though, and it's not just Simonovic's name that's hard to say. I think you're absolutely right. Imagine if it was Simonovic passing the ball to Haksabanovic, you know what I mean? That would have been very difficult. But what I will say is, if it were me, honestly, I would say Boyata. I think Boyata was the one that went to the Bundesliga and proven he was of a higher level. He forced his way into a stubborn Brendan Rodgers side. For me, I think, you know, you only managed to do that in the 16-17 team because his attitude at that point in time And I appreciate what Johnny Logue's saying later on. You know, he's
Yep.
went on strike or whatever, but you don't know what these guys are getting promised, Johnny, as well. You know, Mr. Dembele fell out as well because he felt he'd been promised moves and stuff. And I do get it. But that season, when you actually flip it and you look at what Boyata did, he never went the cream puff that season when he was out the team. He actually just knuckled down, trained his bollocks off, and forced Rodgers' hand to get his beautiful human being, Kolo Touré, out the team. You know, to dislodge a Kolo Touré that Brendan Rodgers had kind of personally brought up. For me, if I was picking a partner for CCV, it'd be Boyata, but I will go with the majority. And Simunovic gets in there.
You can just put Jozo as the name. That would probably be easier, just to put Jozo. I bet the viewers didn't expect that Jozo Simunovic should be getting brought up tonight, but there you go. But you do, it's easy to forget.
He was Simunovic because you think I couldn't spell it, Phil.
No worries, mate. Well played. Well played, mate.
Right, okay, midfield. And I know that neither of these teams would play 4-4-2. We've explained that, all right? David Kelly says, I'll be forgetting Boyata's horror mistakes, as many howlers in him as Starfield. I think there probably is an aspect to that as well. I totally do, mate. I totally get that.
Well, Annie says to bring up to David Kelly, again, we're basing this on the Invincible treble season, right? That Invincible season, Boyata only played the second half of the season. As I said, Boyata's biggest clangers came in European football, but he didn't have many clangers in that second half of the season, so we can only base it on that. Boyata was solid that whole 6 months.
That's fair. That is fair. Right, okay, let's get into the midfield, and this is a bit of fun. Left wing, Phil McGinley. This is almost, we're talking about a player who nearly scored a century of goals for Celtic from the wing. Oh, and the memory, it's so difficult because Jota has to be a left winger. He's the best player in the country, but do you know what? Scott Sinclair is factually been the best player in the country. He's got the trophies to show it. He's got a goal record you wouldn't believe. That season, his impact was literally unbelievable. He was part of the Invincibles, not part of it. He was the main man, I feel, in that Invincibles season. Him and Musa, the goal Scott Sinclair scored, it's so easy to forget. I remember playing, I think it was the Inverness Cali away. He just cut in. He just did a couple of touches away with his right foot outside of the boot. And then he just curled one into the far corner from it 30 yards, like he wasn't even trying, like he was playing in the playground. Folk, it's easy to forget when you leave Celtic and you've kind of your form's dipped. It's easy to remember the dip. 16-17 season, Scott Sinclair.
Oh my God. This is
how good was he?
Oh, he was so good. He was phenomenal. One of the best players that I've had the pleasure of watching at Celtic Park in all my years of going. He was unreal that season. I mean, he started as he meant to continue. He literally got off a plane that morning, was it? And went to Tynecastle, came off the bench and hadn't even really met his teammates and scored within 10 minutes of coming on. So what a start. What a start. He was unreal for us. And Jota at the moment is just what he did last season and what he's doing right now. I don't think there's really any wrong answers with this one, to be fair. This is a tough one, though, I say. God, that's got me stumped.
Could we fit Jota in someone else? Can you go right?
Jota does switch around during games, doesn't he? He does. It would be cheaping it out a wee bit, though, if we're going, we'll just change the positions and send them.
Well, Jota started on the right many times this season already.
He has. I mean, if that's the case, then it would have to be Scott Sinclair, then, if we can do both, because...
That would mean, though, no James Forrest.
He was good under... Well, Paddy Roberts was good that season as well, so that's going to come into the reckoning, isn't it? That's going to come into the reckoning. Oh, boy.
My plan would be... I don't know what you think. I'm going Scott Sinclair on the left, sacrifice a bit of Jota and put him on the right and get them both in. I think that Scott Sinclair 16-17 season was fucking unbelievable. But then Kevin Reynolds, Noah Badder.
Oh, I know, man.
Now I'm fucked. Aye. No, Scott Sinclair's goals were double what Abada got last year. And, I know Leo Abada was unbelievable. We raved about him yesterday. Myself in particular raved about him. Oh, Gary McDowell, he is loving this. He says, Bhoycie, the question for me is, how many of Rodgers' players did he actually sign compared to the team Ange'S assembled? Well, there's the mark of a good manager as well, though, when everyone wants to criticise Rodgers because he's a
Mhm.
rat. How many players did he improve?
Loads.
Unreal. And he took players to a different level that we all thought they were capable of. Stuart Armstrong, Callum McGregor come to mind straight away. I remember I did a Facebook. I'll tell
Scott
you,
Brown.
Bruni.
yeah, I'll tell you the honest truth, right? I genuinely fucking remember there's a Facebook post that comes up my memories once a year, and I said, if anyone thinks Callum McGregor or Stuart Armstrong are ready at this level ever in their Celtic career, you've all lost your minds. Both of them are rabbits in headlights and aren't capable at Champions League level. And one of my mates had put in 100% agreed, Bhoycie. I'll just comment on it every year going, mind that time. Mind that time. Can we take the piss out ourselves, of course?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Scott Sinclair on the left.
Okay, I like that. I like
Johnny,
that.
27 goals that year.
Oh, the man was absolutely outstanding. It was ridiculous how good he was. And we have got that get out clause here, the get out of jail card, because we can put Jota on the right. But we'll have to argue about that one as well, I think. But
we'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm sure we will. Yeah, I'm good. You can't leave Sinclair out. He was just too good that season, that year. He was just, he was stunning. He was outstanding.
Yep. Scott.
Sinclair as well. Definitely.
Oh, there we go. I bet you, by the way, a lot of people in the comments probably wouldn't have thought Sinclair gets in this team, but I'm all for it.
It's been a bit mixed so far. I'm reading the comments as they're going up. It's been quite mixed. Few for Jota, a few for Sinclair.
Trying to make the names stand out a wee bit more. Oh, what's that? Oh. I'm trying to make the names stand out because it's quite difficult on white, isn't it?
It's bad. I mean, see if it was just there we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Good, yeah. Right, okay, cool. Right, back to it. I'll bring the comment off as well so we can see the lineup. So far we've got our goalkeeper Joe Hart, a back four built. We've got Scotty Sinclair. Oh, he looks so magical on the left. Let's just switch to the right then. Let's have the debate. There's Jota, the maverick, the main man, the guy who dismissed reporters yesterday. By the way, I don't know if you've seen that. Hey, because you guys were saying we couldn't win the league in September yet, so all you just relax a wee bit, yeah? That's what he said to the reporters. I don't know if you've seen the interview.
Told him to chill.
Chill, that was it.
Chill out, he said. Yeah.
That was so cool. I thought he's got his head on his shoulders, mate. He is with it. I love him. He's ahead of Abada for me, and I love Abada. Yeah. It's got to be Jota on that right. Johnny Logo, come at you first for a wee change. We've got Jota, Abada, and Patrick Roberts, or James Forrest, who was a star under Brendan Rodgers as well.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I love. Well, you can't not love all of them, to be honest with you. I loved Forrest when he was at his best under Roberts, without a doubt. But he had Paddy Roberts there as well, pushing him on. Now we've got Abada, who's all of these three sort of natural positions is the right. Jota is the one we're now shoehorning in, if we do. But I don't know whether to go with recency bias or
it's so hard.
Or nostalgia. Come on, Daniel. Daniel's telling us what we've got to do, eh?
Danielle says Jota. Stephen Coulthard says Jota, but Gary McDowell says Forrest. I'm getting an echo of one of these as well. I don't know who.
Is it me?
No, I don't know. Anyway,
no.
Carry on.
Anyway, well, Forrest would be fourth choice for me.
Okay.
And I do like him. Fuck it, I'm going to have to go with Jota. I'm going to go Jota because we can always switch Sinclair over as well. They can interchange. I'll go with Jota. Recency bias is going to win on that one.
It's a hard one, mate. Because I thought Forrest was electric that season. You know what I mean? Good. I'll go with everybody else. I'll go Jota just for quickness. But
that's okay. There's no one rushing you, pal. There's no one rushing you.
Forrest was really good that season as well, though. I mean, it's hard. Like, I'll go Forrest actually.
Forrest comes in, and you know what? I like that. I don't mind that. Phil McGinley.
Actually, got to remember that season there was this weird thing where Forrest's contract expired halfway through the season. Remember that? And one of the things that Brendan Rodgers was determined to do right away was make sure that he signed a contract extension. And if you remember as well, the first league goal of that season was scored by James Forrest at Tynecastle. The scored the second one was Forrest that scored the first one that day. And yeah, he just really kicked on. But a lot of that was down to Patrick Roberts. So that was his best season. Whereas like this, when he came back for the loan the second season, just didn't.
Another example though of competition, Phil, wasn't it?
Competition, it was. If I was putting them in order, I'd have Roberts fourth, as good as he was. But yeah, the Forrest was good that season. Jota.
I don't know. Whilst you think, Phil, David Kelly says, how did Gordon get in this team? What team are you looking at, David Kelly? That says Hart. Surely you could.
Yeah.
Craig Gordon's not in the team, David.
and also David Kelly said earlier on, Craig Gordon saved a penalty in the Hapoel Beersheva game. If he didn't save that, we wouldn't have qualified for the Champions League that season. He
is defending Craig Gordon today.
I think you froze earlier when I went on a sort of, hey, don't write off Craig Gordon, by the way. It was quite good. It was quite good, man. With this one, I think I will go with recency bias, but I definitely would say James Forrest is just missing out here. But I'll say Jota. But it's very close because Forrest was really good that season. Really, really good.
Okay. It's Jota for me. Jota walks in the team. Jota's a player of an elite ability that I think we just need to absolutely save whilst we've got him. David Kelly says, sorry, my eyes are brutal. Mate, that's not bad eyesight. I'm mistaken Gordon for I'm glad you enjoyed the show though, David. It's always a pleasure to have him on the bus because he has got fucking good opinion on it, and I always value I value everyone's opinion on the bus. And that's what separates us. We don't have a mantra, by the way, like other bellends that fucking literally tell their group chat, we stand alone. You know what I'm talking about? That is literally his motto. That's how uppy Sell he is and how much he thinks his podcast is of an elite level. Bullshit. Could top fucking. He's the only half decent one, to be fair. He's got a good opinion on football, but fuck me. We stand alone and all that. How aloof can you get? See, the Bhoycie Bus stands together. That's what we do because we bring on everyone's contribution, every single person's point of view. We like to bring on, and that's what keeps us together. So let the other ones stand alone, but that is their private chat. Trust me, we stand alone. Load of shit. Anyway, one guy who is part of the team is going to be a Portuguese maverick. I am calling it now, Jota. I appreciate everyone else's contribution, but I like the look of Jota on that right-hand side. And who's to say Scott Sinclair needs to always be in the left? You know, I think they could interchange. Absolutely. Scott Sinclair preferred his right foot, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
He was right-footed.
Right-footed. Cut in from. He done the Arjen Robben move of cutting in on his stronger foot. That's the Arjen Robben trademark, but he done it from right side onto his left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we are getting to the meat and bones, lads. We've got two strikers to pick, which we'll get to. Two central midfielders. Here's a few names for you I'm going to throw at you. Stuart Armstrong, currently in the EPL. Scott Brown, captain, leader, legend. What is he? The second most decorated Celtic player ever? Something like that. In terms of trophies. Then you've got Cal Mack, current captain now, and he's what, 8th season now as a first team regular. Starts every game. What else have we got to deal with in the midfield? We've got a young guy called Matt O'Reilly, you know, some Danish accent, but what a fucking player. You know, you're looking at other midfielders. David Turnbull scored today. Yesterday even. Today. It's all one big weekend.
Rogic?
Tom Rogic. I mean,
I'm telling you now, he's in my team.
Oh, love it. Right, okay. So we've got Tom Rogic. But then obviously looking at guys like Near Beaton was in both squads up until this season. He was actually a genuine comparison between, you know, whatever version you wanted, but he didn't make it to this season. Obviously, Aaron Moy's probably the guy I'm putting in first and foremost.
Oh, guys. Obviously. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, mate.
Johnny, you've given a definitive answer already. I know a lot of people are going to go Calmac and Bruni. I think that's going to be the common denominator. I think that is what people want. Gary McDowell says Brown and Calmac all day. Stephen Coulter, McGregor and Bruni, same thing.
I can't argue with any. I can't argue with any of them. But I just love Roger. I just thought he was that guy. I mean, we talked about him, playing in his slippers.
He was playing his slippers.
He could play in his slippers with a fancy posh house coat on, glass of whiskey, and stop and have a draw and a cigar. I just thought he was fucking brilliant. I know he had his moments, and I know there was times, but when he was on his game and when he was at the top of his game, he was just fucking brilliant. And I cannot figure out why he's not got a team. I'm convinced that it's Ange's decision that he left. I don't think it was Roderick's decision to leave.
No.
If it was his decision to leave, he'd have something lined up. The fact he hasn't got a club, I just can't even believe he hasn't got a club. You're not telling me there's not even a lower Premiership club.
He's about to.
Well, I believe he's about to, which is a surprise, go to Lennon.
Why though? Neil Lennon's a better manager than folk think.
No, but Lennon was gonna let him leave, wasn't he? When he was gonna go off to Qatar, it was Lennon
for £4 million though.
Oh,
so
well,
the board,
yeah,
don't tell me the board aren't pushing or aren't giving him a wee nudge and a wink at that time, going, take your $4 million. He's on 20,000 a week. We gave him 20,000 a week because Rogers told us to.
Yeah.
No,
anyway. You both probably realise that I just love Rogic. I just fucking thought he's brilliant. I could watch his YouTube clips all day long.
Yeah, I think as well. It's very interesting to have the debate about the 4-4-2 and would it work? Like, could we just maybe take? Yeah, I think that's a wee bit of a buzzkill, if I'm honest. Like I think really what we're trying to do here is build, rather than it being a team that could compete. Let's just say we're picking our 4 best defenders, like our best fullbacks that played left and right back. Like maybe not set up to win a football match, but I want our 2 best centre midfielders from these 2 eras, right? Maybe not necessarily like because we're about to play Real Madrid on Tuesday with them, Like I don't think it's not maybe setting up a structure. I wouldn't play 4-4-2 for a start. I just think it's a good balance to get the names in. I think Calmac and Brown is a compelling argument, Scott. I think it's very, very difficult to argue with it. But I think Tom Rogic gives you the memories. I think he gives you the moments of magic. And I think undeniably in the Invincibles season, he'll be synonymous with it because of that, cup final goal. But it wasn't the only cup final he scored in that season. And not just that, he scored against Rangers in 2 different games that season as well. Yeah. I think it was. So Johnny's making a good case for a Tom Rogic to be in there.
When you talked about him scoring against Rangers, I was watching the game with my stepson, who's not a football supporter, and was watching it. And he said, I've got a £5 left on my Sky Bet account. I said, put on Rogic to score. He said, well, I'll guarantee it. And that was when I can't remember which one it was. There was a bit of a almost like ping pong in the middle of the box, and the ball just broke to Rogic, and he just
2-0 game, and
and
that's actually
he was so relaxed. And it was the same with the goal he scored last year. I said to David when I was watching, I said, you look at him. He waited for McGregor to go down. He fucking gave him the eyes. He looked at him. He waited for him to go down. And then he just dinked over the top of him. 2-1. Anyway, Rogic.
Rogic. Okay. All for it. Scott, who is your midfield centre pairing?
I mean, I was going to say Rogic as well. I quite like Stuart Armstrong, though. Another good player.
Good shout.
Was good under in that Invincible treble season. Armstrong came on leaps and bounds, man.
I'll go Armstrong and Gregor.
Wow, no Scott Brown in there. Phil, are you as bold as Scott Cameron, not including captain, leader, legend in your centre midfield pairing?
Oh, Scott Brown's in mine every day. He is a captain in this team that season. After if I did nostalgia the other night, we talked about Ronnie's first season, but Brown looked at one of the players that was done after Ronnie's 2 years. He looked like he was finished. And when Brendan Rodgers came in and was giving it all the David Brent style stuff, all the sound bites like, oh, Scotty B can be my Stevie G, and you're just like, oh, cringing, man. Like, what? This is pure David Brent stuff, right? And then he ends up, look what he did. Look what he ended up going on and doing, and how he just totally, like, he just found another gear again, just reinvented himself. So for me, Scott Brown is a captain, leader, legend, you say, all those trophies. Yeah, he's such an influence on the Parks. I would have Invincible treble Scott Brown and current era Callum McGregor.
Love it. I love it.
Because Callum McGregor under Brendan was good, and he did come on after the 2 years of Ronnie, but the current Callum McGregor we're getting now is the complete player Callum McGregor. So it should be modern day McGregor and Invincible treble Brown.
Right, okay, Johnny, you've only given us Tom Rogic. Who's partnering Tom Rogic for you?
It's got to be Brown. Scott Brown.
I think I mean Scott Brown's in my team, so that's 3 out of the 4. Apologies, Scott, but we're going Bruni. I think Brown. Oh no, number 8. He's number 8. That'll just annoy me. Yeah, OCD kicking in there. Scott Brown. Who partners Scott Brown? Scott has suggested Armstrong. Johnny has suggested Tom Rogic. Cal Mack, current era for Phil McGinley. Oh, it's fucking tough.
Bhoycie, why don't you let the comments decide this one with majority rule? Because
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Everyone, you've got 3, 2, 1, vote. And in the next 30 seconds or a minute, we'll come to our conclusion. We'll let them come in. Who's partnering Scott Brown in that team? I think it'll be Cal Mack.
I think it'll be Cal Mack as well, but
that's fine because I like the arguments you've made, Johnny. I like Scott Cameron giving the appreciation to Stuart Armstrong. Totally do. It'll be interesting. Cal Mack, easy, says Andrew Parker. Gary McDowell, it's Cal Mack. Kevin Reynolds, I'll tell you what, though, Hattati and Big Matt might just become legends. Daniel F, Cal Mack. Craig White, Cal Mack. Johnny Boy, Cal Mack. David Bradley, Cal Mack. T-Bone sounds like a
T-Bone says Rogic. There you go. That's a Rogic vote for you, Johnny.
Oh, well, yeah.
Moy, Paul Diet says boy. There you go, Moy the boy.
Hey, that's what I picked. Aren't we lucky to have him? But it's going to be Cal Mack. I'm basing it already on what we have seen. It's Cal Mack and Brown that make up the midfield. So now we have some fun.
Fucking hell.
Now, let's get there. We have Lee Griffiths in that Celtic team was the number 1 striker. We panicked because he was being replaced by Moussa Dembele for the 5-1 demolition. We didn't know who this Dembele was. Is he that good? I know he scored the penalty under pressure, but oh Christ, no Griffiths, fuck. Well, we all know what Dembele did that year. Kyogo last year. Kyogo, as Ange calls him. What a player. Unbelievable. Then we get to the stage where we have, there's not just that, we've got Chaos Giakoumakis. So we've got Griffiths, Dembele, Chaos, Kyogo. Anyone I'm missing?
Edward, was he there at that time? Was that the following
year? He was next season. The 2 strikers in the Invincible treble season, I were Griffiths and Dembele. So we've got 4 to choose from, really?
I think so.
Aye. Okay.
Kyogo, as Ryan Taylor's laughing at. Ange does call him that though. Kyogo. What do we think? I'll come to you first, Johnny.
I'd love to put in Chaos, but he's not been here. Again, do we go recency bias or do we go history, if you like?
It's up to you, mate.
I'm going to go Dembele, I think. He was just
There's 2 places. There's 2 places.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
4-4-2. Okay, this is why I went 4-4-2. So we can have some fun.
Griffiths was on fire that year as well, wasn't he?
So we've got Lee
Brown.
Griffiths, who I think his contribution in the 16-17 season is underrated. Just
correct.
because of the Maverick, a huge character that Moussa Dembele was. I actually think Griffiths, I always remember he laid off that one with the outside of the boot for Dembele. Remember he did the flick through two players' legs, the goalies and the defenders' legs in the League Cup semi-final, was it? But it was once Griffiths came on as a sub, that's what created that. I mean, he was brilliant. He had loads of different moments in the Champions League qualifiers that year, the free kicks, etc. Remember him running, sprinting, jumping on Rodgers. Remember his goal top bins at Ibrox and all that shit as well. I mean, he was a quality man for us. He really was that year. You've got a Lee Griffiths firing at that time. You've got a Moussa Dembele, second top scorer in the country behind Liam Boyce of Ross County. You've got Chaos Giakoumakis, Scotland's top scorer, joint top scorer last season. And you've got Kyogo.
I'm going to go Dembele. I just don't think you can leave him out. I love it. He was brilliant. The only problem with Dembele is we didn't have him for long enough.
All right.
And I was going to say, can we stick Abada in there and cheat and put a bit of a move John position? Can we cheat and put Abada through the middle? But I'm going to go with Kyogo.
Scott.
Dembele and Chaos.
Oh, that's almost like, I think that's the closest comparison you could make to Sutton and Hartson up top. That's what it reminds me of, that physical impact, you know, when it's just two absolute monsters up top. Dembele and Chaos. Phil, where do you sit with that?
Dembele is nailed on. I mean, not too long ago, we did Nostalgia, Invincible treble season, and it made me so nostalgic for how good Dembele was, sitting talking about his moments. I will never, ever forget when Rangers players were literally bouncing off him in the corner flag at Ibrox. And he just held the ball out there for about 4 minutes, just kind of made his body big and just shielded the ball. It was phenomenal. The goals he scored that season against them just terrorised them. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the one at Ibrox that day where it came for the corner, chased it down, volleyed it in. Superb stuff. Great player. So he's in. Now, because of playing a 4-4-2, 4-4-2 formation, I'm always a bit of a fan of the having a physical striker and a smaller striker. So for me, it'd be Kyogo. I think Giakoumakis and Dembele both being big physical ones in a 4-4-2. It becomes a bit long ballish after that, you know, a bit of Harry Redknapp going on and Mike Bassett. So I'll go for a big man, little man combination, Dembele and Kyogo for me. Dembele getting the knock-ons for Kyogo to run onto and so forth, get into the channels, and Dembele's more than capable as well, running into the channels. So I'll go for that too.
It's great debate. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say Chaos before Kyogo. My honest opinion. Yeah. I think Kyogo is an unbelievable player. We're blessed to have. And fuck me, you know, he's given us moments already that, you know, very few players, Celtic players get the opportunity to give. So it's not a criticism. But we're picking, and Dembele, as you'll notice, I've already typed in because I think that's the universal one for all of us. Moussa is in that team, 100%, absolute one-off. Maverick, loved him. Kyogo or Chaos. Lee Griffiths doesn't get him, right? He doesn't. For all the good things he did in the Celtic shirt, by the way, you know, particularly the season probably before the Invincibles one. But even in that Invincibles season, he played a big part. He was good. He actually became a more all-round player under Rodgers as opposed to just a goal scorer, I felt. You know, Bob McBob says Kyogo bottled it. I mean, watch the challenge again and watch the follow-through with the elbow from Lundstrom. It's so deliberate what he's done.
Fucking right it was.
Fucking frightening. And let's be honest, though, do that to Chaos. Does he rub it off? Does he fucking shrug it off? I think he does. Chaos doesn't need to use elbows. Ask James Sands. Giakoumakis doesn't need to use elbows. Ask James Sands. Giakoumakis uses his shoulder and he sent James Sands for his fucking dinner. You know what I mean? He was doing a Klinsmann dive, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go, for me, it's Dembele Giakoumakis. Okay. Who partners Dembele for you, Johnny?
I went Kyogo.
So get 2 and 2.
I agreed with. I said Kyogo.
3, 2, 1. Get your votes in now. Get the votes in now. Kyogo or Chaos to partner Dembele. And we'll just go with the first 5 or 6 that come in.
Yeah.
We've been on for nearly an hour and a half now. You know,
Jeez.
Andrew Parker says Kyogo.
Mm-hmm.
First one in, Kyogo. Or Kyogo. Kyogo. Alex Mitchell says, great for me. I don't know.
Brian Taylor, GG. Big Red, GG.
Oh, Big Red, GG.
Brown Warrior.
Dembele and Giakoumakis.
Brown Warrior says Dembele and Giakoumakis are two alike, would make the same runs. Dembele and Kyogo would work. That was the same rationale. Out of two big men, two big physical men doesn't work. You need a wee man and a big guy.
Alex Subsea, he's saying Kyogo, what a show. It's a hail from me. What a team. And I'm talking of the Bhoycie Bus team. Thank you, Alex, mate. I appreciate that. Arab McNair, Kyogo and Dembele. Ryan Taylor, it's Kyogo simply for the way you and Ange say it. Kyogo. Monty's picking Bhoycie up top. I like that. Alex Mitchell says GG. Fuck, it's a split. It is a split. John Boy says GG, but Stephen Coulthard says Kyogo.
That's a very close one, that.
I think that's... See, just on a positive front, though, how refreshing is it? How balanced that is?
That's incredible.
Is that not the definition of what this competition we wanted?
Yeah, it is. It is, actually.
David
Kelly says a jetty. There's a deciding vote there.
No, Ajay doesn't qualify. He wasn't there at all. He was in Austria by the time we kicked off yesterday.
That's right.
Thankfully.
Wow.
Toss a coin. We won a European Cup tie that way, didn't we?
Did Benfica? Aye.
Alex says, can I vote for GG again? Oh, fuck it. I run the bus. I'm saying GG. Fuck it. I'm like, hey, the beauty of driving it. Angles, chaos. Wow. Sometimes you've got to be a dictator, man. That's what it's all about. Chaos gets in there. Fuck it.
Democracy's all right until you don't get your fucking way right, but isn't that right?
Do you know what I mean? I'm sick of being sound all the time, man. Do you know what I mean? Fucking get him in. This has been great fun tonight, lads. Loved it. Completely different vibe, but it's just everyone's on the crest of a wave right now. We can all accept the fact that we're living in a special time. We're comparing it with what was a special time before, an invincible era. Right now, Celtic have just went 38 games, league games, I should say, unbeaten, which is the equivalent of a full season. Scott Cameron, Johnny Logue, Phil McGinley again. An absolute pleasure having you guys on the Bhoycie Bus, to each and every one of you in the comments and in the chat. Thanks so much. It's been brilliant. Over 160 still live now. There was 250 at one point. We are the Bhoycie Bus. This is what we do. Ange'S fucking Celtic team, it's what they do. They have got a poster called Clue. We are looking forward now to the Monday Club tomorrow. Jonathan Boyce's thoughts on the weekend we'll be able to be entertained by. And then it's back to some more PMP after Real Madrid come to paradise on Tuesday. We never stop. Ange'S team doesn't stop. And it's chaos before Kyogo. Good night.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.